This is the Troll Patrol. Live. With Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol Live. It's a freaking Monday. I'm glad to be back. It feels like it's been forever. Good evening. Welcome in. Ponder Monkey. Casey. Curiouser Holiday. Soup. Anonymously. Princess Kimberly. Good to see everybody. Welcome in. YouTube people. Kick. Rumble. Odyssey. D-Live. All those things should be working fine now. We're going to find out what that news be doing because it's been a while. Then we got Live Music Monday for Twitch peeps directly after. We're gonna take to the streets. We got a man on the street segment tonight where spring breakers were asked questions about civics. Apparently didn't do very well. We're going to talk about the Wisconsin Supreme Court race, the two congressional races in Florida tomorrow. Trump is dead set on going for a third term. Says he wants to face Obama. Says he wants to beat Obama. Kid Rock was at the White House today. A judge dismisses a case against an ICE detainee. Lays into ICE and the administration. Representative Victoria Spitz, you may recognize her as the Eastern European woman who somehow is in the GOP, which I guess makes perfect sense when you really think about it. She's the one that said there was no due process. She gave an interview to CNN. An immigrant, by the way, saying immigrants don't have a right to due process. $50 prosecutors fired from the DOJ, 2 of them apparently at the behest of the Trump administration. Might have been out for revenge. Trump pardoned a guy because he gave him money. Gave money to his campaign, gets a pardon. Sounds like bribery to me. And Oathkeeper, who apparently was an associate of Hunter Biden, pardoned for his role in January 6th. A man says his pardon for January 6th should apply to his child porn charges. God damn. Was Hex's wife in high-level meetings. Got some audio of what Vladimir Putin said during a speech, along with coverage from The Guardian breaking down exactly what he was saying, because it's kind of wild what Putin just came right out and said. The soldiers that we talked about that were missing in Lithuania have been found dead. The comedian that was set to host the White House Correspondents' Dinner has been given the boot. RFK fat-shamed a governor. Fascist Marine Le Pen convicted of fraud in France. We have explosives found at a park in Texas. A GOP headquarters in New Mexico has been firebombed. All that and a lot friggin' more tonight on the Troll Patrol Live. Good evening. Are these onion headlines? That's a very good question. War Machine, welcome in, my friend. Here's your meme of the day. Sorry, you can't see God. You can't see the text there. There we go. Hey, everybody, we're all gonna get laid. I'm not high enough for this shit. And of course, Meatloaf and Blue Oyster Cult directly after the stream for Twitch people. My internet should not drop out on you this time. We think we figured it out. I have a temporary workaround. Everything's going fine so far. If I lose you, it's probably because of that you're seeing on screen. And my power went out. That is a possibility. So if all of a sudden I'm not here, power went out. Let's get to it because I want to get to the concerts. It is Trans Day of Visibility. Shout out to any trans homies we have in the chat. I did not have I completely restarted, or I completely reinstalled OBS. So I did not have my setup handy, but I was like, God damn it, I gotta go and pull my holiday graphics in. Make sure trans homies feel seen. The Pacific Northwest is hanging Major Dong. Speaking of Major Dongs, Elon Musk was in Wisconsin last night to give away millions of dollars to people in a voting bribery scheme.
I just want to say that Doja's findings demonstrate to the American people that the government clearly does not care about our hard-earned tax dollars. I'm only 26.
Or he's lying to you and you're a dipshit.
Frustrating for people who have worked their entire lives to see their tax dollars.
DJ Dub, welcome in.
Fraud, waste, and abuse. And you alone have contributed so much money to our
so much fraud and abuse.
Taxes, so thank you.
You almost had it. He's contributed to so much fraud and abuse.
You've clearly shown your leadership and team is capable of transforming our government into something better than what we see today. I just want to say,
is she trying to have his baby?
Wondering, but we know that Doge has found quite a bit of money, and we would like to see some of that returned to the American people. Do you have any?
Oh, are you gonna get your $5,000 checks?
Checks would be written or sent out.
Sure.
You gonna get your $5,000 check?
We need to be successful at scale. We've made a lot of progress, but there's still a tremendous amount of work to do. Effectively, as government spending
that's a no.
More efficient and spending is reduced, the tax by inflation is reduced. One way or another, you will effectively be better off if resources in the United States are not wasted.
Which one, War Machine? Elon or the woman that asked that question?
It's
He's not.
to the Congress and maybe the president to as to whether specific checks are cut, but whether a check is cut or not, if you reduce wasteful spending, the economy is going to be better off. People will do more useful jobs than before. The total output of goods and services will increase, and then the average standard of living will increase.
Holy shit.
So that's
that was word salad. That's what that was. Apparently he was heckled and then proceeded to blame the right's favorite boogeyman. Welcome in, Lenny.
Well, thing to ask for. We're obviously seeing like some crazy stuff in D.C. where it seems like it's like any federal judge can stop any action by the president of the United States. This is insane. Like,
I'm sorry, wrong clip. This is him saying that judges shouldn't be able to stop illegal actions.
And we're obviously seeing like some crazy stuff in D.C. where it seems like it's like any federal judge can stop any action by the president of the United States. This is insane. Like, this has got to stop. It's got to stop at the federal level and at the state level. Well, thing to ask for.
Luckily for us, this time it looks like he's not going to be able to buy the election. It seems like it's not a Democrat. It's not a Democrat judge. It's an impartial race. But it seems like the liberal justice is going to win.
The federal government, like, shocking, really. It's insane.
This is where he gets heckled.
Yeah, it's really wild. So, like, I mean, it was inevitable that at least a few Soros operatives would be in the audience. Give my regards to George. Say hi to George for me. USA, 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 USA.
Does he chant USA because George Soros is foreign born, but also Elon Musk, foreign born? He's making the assertion that there's a billionaire buying the race and influencing politics while he's there spending millions influencing the politics. He gave away $1 million. This is one of the winners of that $1 million.
My name's Ekaterina Diesler. I'm from Green Bay, Wisconsin. I did exactly what Elon Musk told everyone to do. Sign a petition, refer friends and family, vote, and now I have $1 million. My name's Ekaterina Diesler. I'm from Green Bay, Wisconsin. I did exactly what Elon Musk told everyone to do. Sign a petition, refer friends and family, vote, and now I have $1 million.
Okay, here's the thing: is this is totally illegal. But the only way it could possibly be enforced is if they win the Supreme Court seat. The liberal justice is not bought and paid for by Elon, wins the Supreme Court seat. Then perhaps we could see Elon be held accountable for that. Samson, Zong, good evening, my friends. Let's go to Democracy Now! For the breakdown of the Wisconsin race.
Wisconsin, where billionaire advisor to Donald Trump, Elon Musk, spoke in Green Bay ahead of Tuesday's state Supreme Court election. Musk has spent around $20 million to support Trump-backed candidate Brad Schimmel over liberal Susan Crawford in what's become the most expensive judicial election in U.S. history. On Friday, Wisconsin's attorney general sued Musk for offering to give $1 million checks to two voters who signed one of his petitions. On Sunday, Musk went ahead with his giveaway.
Let me first hand out two $1 million checks in appreciation.
Musk is heavily involved in Wisconsin's judicial election, claiming liberals could use the 4-3 they have on the state Supreme Court to change voting districts and impact election results in the swing state.
The importance of the election on Tuesday is gigantic. It could decide the future of the House of Representatives. It could decide then the future of America and the future of the world. So it's absolutely critical that you need to just drag friends and family to vote on Tuesday.
I love that Democracy Now! Fonts him as just world's richest man.
For Justice Schimmel and for voter ID.
World's richest asshole also would have worked.
Conservative Republican Brad Schimmel. The Democratic Party of Wisconsin's countered with political ads endorsing Judge Susan Crawford.
Firing air traffic controllers, cutting rape crisis centers, attacking Social Security. Elon Musk is out of control. And now the power-hungry billionaire is unloading millions to buy the Wisconsin Supreme Court. He knows MAGA politician Brad Schimmel is for sale.
For more, we're joined by longtime Wisconsinite John Nichols of The Nation magazine. His recent piece headlined "The Wisconsin Supreme Court Race."
Oh yeah, John Nichols.
Elon Musk.
World's most overpaid man indeed.
As Elon Musk says himself, I mean, this judicial race, which usually doesn't get anything like this attention, not to mention the tens of millions of dollars that has been put into the race, could affect not only the balance of the House of Representatives. Well, what Elon Musk said is it could affect Western civilization. Talk about the significance of what's going on.
Well, I've often been teased for saying Wisconsin is the center of the universe, but apparently Elon Musk has confirmed that. And what's going on in Wisconsin is a very intense race for state Supreme Court. Wisconsin has had quite a few of these in recent years. That's because our court is incredibly powerful. And we are a very divided state. Wisconsin is the ultimate battleground state in the U.S. Of the last 7 presidential races, 5 of them have been decided by around 30,000 votes or less. And so often things come to the court. Cases on abortion rights, cases on labor rights, cases on voting rights. In fact, in 2000, the court decided by a narrow 4-3
Polling looks good for the liberal.
reject Donald Trump's challenges to Wisconsin's vote for president. And so, for a variety of reasons, both parties have focused on this court, even though it's a nonpartisan court. And this year's race is incredibly significant because currently the court has a 4-3 progressive majority. That's for the first time in a very long time. That progressive majority is likely to protect abortion rights, to encourage labor rights, and to protect voting rights. This is something that Republicans in Wisconsin are quite upset about. They made it clear they were going to try and upend that 4-3 majority and shift it to a 4-3 conservative majority. The thing that is different this time is that the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, has since January been obsessed with this race. He messages about it on social media. In February, he started giving substantial money. He is now up to at least 20 million. I think when the final count comes, it will probably be substantially more than that. And as you've noted, last night, he flew into Green Bay.
Elon may have tipped the scales in favor of the liberals. Quesadilla,
numbers.
welcome in.
But he gave away 2 checks for $1 million. He is also now making a new offer that to people who are going door to door, if you communicate that you've gone to the doors, you'll get $20 or something like that. And so he's just pouring money into the race in an effort to...
Okay, if there's a thing where he's giving out $20, everybody go and try to claim it. Go find an address, just any address in Wisconsin. Say you knock doors in this neighborhood, fucking lie, get that money. Quesadilla, to tell you good evening.
Brad Schimmel, who is a very, very right-wing Republican.
We should smoke now that Quesadilla's here.
Governor Scott Walker. And if Schimmel gets on the court, I mean, there's very little doubt that he will rule in a very friendly way, not just to Republicans, but particularly to corporate interests. And I think that's what really interests Elon Musk.
His position on abortion, very quickly, John?
Brad Schimmel has been a long-time opponent of abortion rights. He comes from Waukesha County, which is a historically very conservative county in Wisconsin. And his whole career, he's been a militant foe of abortion rights. That's a big deal because Wisconsin has a battle going on about an 1849 law that effectively bans abortion. And if Schimmel went on the court, it is within the realm of reason that law could be reanimated.
I want to turn to the televised debate on Wisconsin's Supreme Court election between Schimmel and Crawford, both judges. In this clip, Schimmel's asked if he would ever rule against President Trump if a case ever came into his courtroom.
If President Trump violates the law or President Trump brings a lawsuit that he's wrong on the law, of course I would.
I mean, he's violated the law.
Loyalty to him that
over and over again.
The oath I take as a judge, there's no question.
So he's been described as a MAGA judge, but what about his response, John?
Well, he's a politician. The thing to understand about Brad Schimmel is he really is a career politician. He's been on the ballot multiple times on the Republican ballot line for district attorney and for state attorney general during the Walker years. And he
is lying indeed.
He also said that he thinks that we have to develop a quote-unquote support network for Donald Trump to make sure that his agenda is protected. And after he did that debate appearance, he appeared at an event, or there circulated a picture from an event with him standing in front of a 20-foot tall blow-up Donald Trump balloon. So I think he might have been fabricating just a little in his statement there.
If you can talk about
It's a polite way of calling him a liar.
If you can talk about what's going on in Florida right now, Waltz and Gates's seats, and also what's happening in Louisiana and the significance
we're going to talk about Florida.
of this moment for Donald Trump as he pulls Elise Stefanik's nomination to be the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations because he's concerned of her leaving her seat.
Right. This is a politically volatile moment for Donald Trump. It often happens in the first months of a new presidential term. You have special elections, local elections, state elections, which begin to give you a sense of whether people are impressed with what the president is doing or are upset and angry with it. And we're starting to see some real signs of resistance to Donald Trump at the ballot box. In Louisiana on Saturday, there were 4 constitutional amendments. These were described as mega amendments. They sought to put a cap on taxation. They sought to put a cap on spending and on budgets. They sought to pull back a stipend for teachers, all sorts of things like that. The governor of Louisiana was very powerful and a Republican who was elected not that long ago, campaigned for these 4 amendments. They all went down by overwhelming margins. They were all defeated.
I didn't know about this Louisiana race.
Coming out of Louisiana. In fact, some people are referring to it as a political
those
earthquake.
amendments.
And what happened was you had a very significant turnout of black and working class voters mobilized by a coalition that was saying this is a real problem. So in Louisiana, a very conservative state, you saw a pushback against Trump and Musk. On Tuesday, you have the Wisconsin race, which has become, center of political news in the U.S. and even around the world. But you also have 2 special elections in Florida for seats that were vacated when Donald Trump appointed
both of them very red seats
and Waltz to positions in his administration. In both of those races, the Democratic candidates are running way better than expected, even though those are very Republican-leaning districts. I'm not saying the Florida races will flip, but it is within the realm of reason that one of them could. And if you have this scenario where Louisiana rejects these amendments, where a Florida seat flips, where Wisconsin rejects Elon Musk's money, you could have a real significant measure of the popular objection to what Trump and Musk are doing. Obviously, if the Wisconsin race goes the other way, if the Florida races go Republican, you won't get that message. But that's why everyone is looking at what's happening on Saturday in Louisiana and now on Tuesday in Florida and Wisconsin, because we may get the first real electoral measure of where America stands on Donald Trump and Elon Musk.
Bernie Sanders has endorsed while in the Waltz open seat race right now in Florida. Bernie Sanders, who's been going around the country in a fighting oligarchy tour and been getting unprecedented thousands of people coming out. The significance of this in Florida, in DeSantis's Florida.
It's very interesting because, as you say, while the Democratic candidate in that 6th district race in Florida has gotten an endorsement from Senator Bernie Sanders. I talked to Senator Sanders about it yesterday, and Senator Sanders said that the Wild campaign really wanted this endorsement. And in fact, on social media, they very much embraced the endorsement of Bernie Sanders. Now, that might not have been a typical thing in a Republican-leaning district, except that one of the things that is fascinating about Bernie Sanders' tour of the United States, this fighting oligarchy tour in which he's been joined by Alexandria
been hitting up red districts
and others, is that he is going generally to Republican-held districts. And that's one of the kind of lost realities of this. He's drawing thousands of people in Republican-leaning areas. The theory is, or the thinking is, that this may be a moment where the typical Democrat might not do so well. There's a lot of objections to where the Democratic Party is. Even people who believe that the Democratic Party hasn't done enough to fight.
Hell yeah, Ponder Monkey.
But there is a high degree of buy-in, if you will, for Bernie Sanders' message that billionaires should not be controlling our government. And so we're going to, again, get another test of that down in Florida.
I want to thank you, John Nichols, for being with us and ask you to stay with us.
Apparently what it comes down to is that a lot of Trump voters do not give a shit about the rest of the Republican Party, that they voted only for Trump and did not vote Republican down ballot, and because Trump isn't on the ballot, aren't going to be coming out for these races. That's why you saw several, like, I was in North Carolina at the time, and the Senate race and the governor's race, they both outperformed Harris, just because, like, there were so many people that came and voted for Trump and then didn't fill out the rest of the ballot. You saw the crowd that Elon gathered for the $1 million, but this is the crowd that was protesting outside. You guys saw the crowd. Are there more people outside than there were inside? That's a great crowd on a cold, fucking rainy Wisconsin March day. Of course, Soros paid him to be there. You know that. He handed out his Soros bucks to him. Here's another protest against Elon Musk, apparently from his baby's mama. As I said, that one woman that was asking him a question really seemed like she was wanting to have his baby, but maybe she was just wanting her $5,000. Here's Elon Musk's newest baby mama.
Selling it because I need to make up for the 60% cut that Elon made to our son's child support.
Why do you think that he did that?
That's a great question for him.
Because he's a piece of shit?
You feel like he was sort of like vindictive against you in some way?
Yeah, that's his modus operandi when women speak out.
When was the last time that you spoke to him or tried to speak to him?
February 13th.
But he's just not responding to you at all. And how would you characterize the way that he's going about
And to be clear, in case anyone is unaware, he didn't even get any of that pussy. She has his baby. He didn't even get any pussy.
You can check the stocks. I am. I'm not the only one.
We won't get you on that. We're not going to get you.
So in the parade of women who are selling or giving away their Teslas, Ashley St. Clair is the newest. Elon's baby mama giving away her Tesla. Remember that dude on CNN that amused me the other day? Let's watch him break down the Florida races.
Do you know who's special? CNN chief data analyst Harry. He is special. You know.
Yeah, he is special.
Elections being held.
He's a special lad.
Locations around the country.
Spy Resist. Good evening.
Republicans nervous just a little over 2 months into the Trump presidency. So let's talk about that, Captain Special. Florida's 6th congressional district.
Captain Special?
Michael Waltz, who's now the embattled national security advisor. Is this supposed to be close?
Yeah, I mean, look, let's just talk about Florida's 6th district, right? It's Josh Will versus Randy Fine.
Damn right, clinically. Why are you over on YouTube?
Red district. Donald Trump won it by, get this, 30 percentage points. This race should not be close. It should not be close. But this is a special election in which I want you to take a look at the turnout so far in the early vote. Republicans have just a 9-point advantage. You don't have to be a mathematician. 9 points is way less than 30. Now, of course, this is just party affiliation. We don't know how those folks are voting, but we do know that the early vote traditionally in Florida makes up the vast majority of the vote when all the votes are cast and counted. And so the bottom line is, at this point, if people vote according to their party affiliation, this race is likely to be far, far, far closer than the Donald Trump plus 30 that we saw in the presidential race just a little bit over, let's just say, what is that, 4 or 5 months ago?
It is interesting.
Wasn't that long ago.
This number here probably cost Elise Stefanik, Congresswoman from New York, the ambassadorship to the United Nations, because the White House all of a sudden got nervous. There could be sort of a trend across the country. So talk to me about special elections in general. Would it be surprising to see Democrats do well?
Yeah, you know, sometimes you see a special election and say that's a one-off. But what's important here is it's part of a trend. It's not.
I don't even know. We've had like 2 Democratic Congress people die. And there's going to have to be elections for their seats now. So, like, I don't even know what the balance is between the sides in the House at the moment. Republicans were up 4, but then they had somebody die, so they were up 3. And then there's been a House seat flip, so they're up 2. But then the Democrats lost 2, so they're down 2 at the moment, so Republicans are still up 4. Something like that is what's going on.
Not just here in Florida, 6th, in which Republicans are struggling, it seems to me, compared to the presidential baseline of 2024. I want to take you to the nation at large and take a look at the average 2025 special election in state legislative and federal. And what we see so far is Democrats on average are way above their baseline. We're talking about doing 9 points better than Harris did last year in 2024. So when we see that party affiliation statistics coming out of Florida 6, and you combine it with what we've been seeing in the nation as a whole, I think.
Can we just quit doing this?
Republicans are sweating, quite worried. And why?
Like, it's like we just keep swinging back and forth.
Stefanik decided to actually stay in Congress instead of going off to the White House, because keep in mind, that district is actually only about a plus 20 Trump district. That one could have been very competitive.
War Machine, didn't that one die?
That is, plus 30 Trump is already quite competitive as it is.
I don't think she decided. I think they
found out they were in the nursing home because they died.
I think they decided for her. So talk to me about how predictive special elections can be.
Yeah, so, you know, you see all this. You see the +9 in the early vote in Florida 6. You see the +9 here, Democrats doing better than the 2024 baseline. You go, why does this matter? Why does this matter at all? Well, why don't we take a look back through time, jump in the DeLorean, and let's take a look at special elections and midterm results. I know there's a lot of font on this screen, a lot of text, but the key thing here is if a party outperforms in special elections and midterm elections since the 2000s.
I think so she was just finishing out her term.
5 times. That party that outperformed.
They didn't run again. They were in a nursing home.
And of course, that is what Democrats are hoping is the case this time around, given so far the special election results.
And what had the White House nervous? Harry Etten, thank you for explaining it so
Thank you. I feel so special.
Kate?
There's a lot that just went on there.
Oh, do you want me to play whatever? Like, have you seen this clip? I wasn't going to play any more of it. I thought about playing Carvel. And he was like, well, Trump fell apart faster than I thought he would. If you're a fan of news, that would explain why you're watching my show, DJ Dub. I didn't think I needed to. We got what we needed out of that. I just wanted to dissect the Florida races before tomorrow so everybody knows what's going on. Here's what I am really interested in tonight. This is a book plug. It's always a book plug when it's something like that. But we've apparently got some juicy details. Did you know that the Democrats apparently thought that Biden might die?
Come on, man.
It's one of the first deep dives into Trump's historic comeback and the Democrats' failure to stop him. A new book, Fight, Inside the Wildest Battle for the White House, from #1 New York
I liked her better when she was, Debbie on Shameless.
Times bestselling authors Jonathan Allen and Amy Parnes claims that Democrats began planning to possibly replace Biden as early as 2023, while some thought he might, quote, die in office. Joining me now with more revelations is The Hill's senior political correspondent and co-author of Fight, Amy Parnes. Amy, it's an incredible book, eye-opening, newsy. Everyone should go out.
How could you hate Debbie?
Tomorrow, April 1st. I want to dive into some of these.
And she looks like her, does she not?
John Allen outlined in the book. This was arguably the most consequential election in American history. The book includes incredible new information on how it all went down.
Oh, don't even give me. I don't even know what your Debbie was like. Was she even called Debbie? You had a completely different show than us. We did the American Shameless.
Let's start, though, with the moment that President Biden actually decided to step aside. The book details how Harris had to, quote, plead for Biden to endorse her the same day. Talk about how that conversation went down and who else was involved.
Yeah, Michael, we have new reporting in this book that reveals that Harris's closest aides were huddled in her pool house at the Naval Observatory, kind of planning in a planning meeting about what to do if President Biden did drop out. When he did drop out, they received word, and one of her closest advisors ran up to talk to her. She's on the phone with President Biden. President Biden is essentially telling her what is happening. She asks, "Are you sure?" And then she goes to ask him, "Well, will you endorse me?" And he says, I'm planning on endorsing you, but later." And she essentially says, "No, the endorsement needs to come sooner." You know, she knew that there was talk of a mini primary. She knew that some Democrats might be lining up behind other candidates, and she really wanted his endorsement right away. And we report that for the first time in this book, Fight.
No, it's incredible. I remember after...
Would they have been better off if they had cut... I mean, at the time, I thought Harris was the best bet, and that we were going to get stuck with Josh Shapiro. Would the Democrats have been better off? What say you, chat? Should the donors have cut Biden's nuts off, and who would they have gone with?
The announcement came out, folks were waiting. Well, Biden didn't explicitly say in that announcement that he was going to drop out, so fascinating to hear the behind-the-scenes conversation. And the pool house note, that's fascinating. You also say that some Democrats began planning scenarios for Biden's death as early as 2023. Tell me, what exactly did those conversations entail? And
see, I don't think a primary was in the cards. I don't think you would have got a primary. You would have got like a Gavin shoved down your throat. I thought Harris was the more organic, like... She represented the will of the party because she's the only one that did get votes. That she was elected to be the vice president to serve if Joe Biden couldn't fulfill his duties. I mean, ultimately, the best bet was for Joe Biden to have never run, clearly, and had an open primary. But he was an obstinate old fucking geezer.
were there aides who thought he might not even make it to November 2024?
There were definitely party officials who were meeting and talking about what would happen if the president were to become incapacitated, what would happen, what if he would die. So there were plans in place for that. There was one aide in particular, Jamal Simmons, who served as her communications director. He would carry around a list when he traveled of Republican judges in case something happened to Biden, because he had this view that she would have the backing, the immediate backing of the country, a legitimate backing, if you will, if a Republican judge were to swear her in on the road. And so we report that for the first time. But these were all things, these were all plans that were in place in case something did happen to President Biden.
And Amy, you also reported that Harris's team had a Biden incapacitation plan that they put in place. Tell us about that.
That it was all part of this whole plan.
Alien, welcome in.
Something did happen to President Biden, and there were plans in the works. You know, they always kind of tamped down on those plans when people asked about them. No one would really talk about that, and so we reveal for the first time that the party did have a plan in place, and even the vice president's office, they did have plans in place should something happen to President Biden.
And in the book.
Meanwhile, now on his way to being the oldest president. I don't think he's hit it yet. It's like next year he becomes the oldest president, right? Because he will be the oldest president before he leaves office. But I don't think he holds that record yet. The man who will be the oldest president, who he says he's going to run again, had Kid Rock in the Oval Office.
So it's an honor to have you back. A friend of mine, Kid Rock, sometimes referred to as Bob. I know him as Bob.
Bob!
Friend for a long time, many years, and he's been after something that is for the good of...
Now, goddammit, that's how you dress when you go and meet the president. Zelensky, take notice. Bitch tits Bob in here. Oh my God.
A lot of people, including in particular the public, and having to do with ticket sales and scalping and all of the gouging that you have been reading about. That's gotten worse and worse with time. And I didn't know too much about it, but I checked it out, and it is a big problem. And I think you've been trying to get this done for 20 years.
It auto-modded skank?
2 weeks.
Shelly, welcome in.
Serious EO. And I'm going to sign it now, and maybe I'll ask you, Will, to explain a little bit about it, please.
Of course, sir. So this is an executive order, as you said, that deals with the ticket reselling business.
Lamp boobs.
Fans of live entertainment and for entertainers as well. The ticket reselling industry has become a huge issue. These people use bots and computer algorithms to buy up huge blocks of tickets and then jack up the price so that fans of live entertainers like Mr. Ritchie, I almost called him Mr. Rock,
Mr. Ritchie,
to concerts the way that they should, and when they do, it's at exorbitantly high prices. So what this executive order does, it charges the FTC and the Department of Justice with rigorously enforcing
like a tagged abandoned car,
in collaboration with state attorneys general that have power over consumer protection, and other people who have the power to really crack.
We're just mocking Kid Rock.
So that entertainers and fans won't be subject to these abusive and oftentimes illegal practices.
Good. Thank you very much. Bob, you want to say something?
Yeah, anybody?
Yeah, Bob.
It doesn't matter your politics. First off, thank you, Mr. President, because this has happened at lightning speed. I know you put, I want to make sure Alina Habba gets her credit too, because I know she worked very hard on this. But
Alina Habba is so fucking stupid.
In the last decade, maybe 20 years, no matter what your politics are, knows that it's a conundrum. You buy a ticket for $100, by the time you check out, it's $170. You don't know what you can charge for.
He's right there.
Bots. You know, they come in to get all the good tickets to your favorite shows you want to go to, and then they're relisted immediately for sometimes a 400% or 500% markup. And the artists don't see anything.
Oh, I think Bob tapped Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Great first step. I would love down the road if there would be some legislation that we could actually put a cap on the resale of tickets. And I'm a capitalist and a deregulation guy, but they've tried this in some places in Europe, and it seems to be the only thing that's us as artists be able to get the tickets into the hands of the fans.
Now, that is one thing I will say. Kid Rock has been excellent on the fighting back against Ticketmaster. He has kept his prices low for his shows. He wants regular people to be able to see him. Oh, he was hooking up with Boebert. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. I forgot which stupid GOP woman he was hooking up with. As long as he's not hooking up with Anna Paulina Luna, she's with me. He has been on the right side of this issue and fighting back against Ticketmaster and Live Nation.
Fans at the prices we set. I'll be the first one to say, and I know the president doesn't like when I say this, but I'm a little overpaid right now. It's kind of ridiculous. I would rather be, a hero to working class people and have them be able to come attend my shows and give them a fair ticket price. I can't control that right now, so hopefully this is a step to really be able to make that happen. I know a lot of artists and a lot of fans who love concerts and music are going to be very appreciative of you taking this
And I
action,
think Bob is more interested in the fans and the people that are having to pay crazy prices than he is the artist. Maybe the artist a little bit, but the fans a lot.
Martha Stewart is hot.
About it. And it's been, it bothers him. It bothers a lot of other artists too. To see the artists, and they go out with $100 ticket and it sells for $2,000 the following night. And they seem to be able to sweep
What
up.
the fuck do you know about any of this?
Pretty amazing.
Fritter, welcome in.
They've only enforced that Bots Act one time, I believe. A couple years ago in New York City, they still got a $2 million fine. And that's the only time they've enforced that act.
And who's the primary culprit? Who sells these tickets?
It's the scalpers. It's these bots go in, they're automated, so you're in.
What is there a company?
By the way, I am pretty sure that what he is calling bots is actually the artist and the producers and the promoters colluding to snatch up the tickets and then sell them on the secondary market, because multiple bands have been caught doing that. Look it up, including Metallica. Multiple bands have been caught doing that. They got upset that people were making more money on the secondary market off of their tickets, and they said, we need to get a cut of that. So they started snatching up the secondary market.
Involved? You might know.
No. Well, there's reselling markets. Yeah.
I think I know, Peter. But that's all right. Don't get them involved. Maybe
What company do you think?
Maybe they're more innocent than we think. Huh?
Well, if you think of it, like if Ticketmaster.
Yep, getting money on both ends, Lenny.
Go to a show, you're in a lot of ways their worst customer.
I know it's an inside job.
Percentage every time that ticket resells, so they don't want to enforce the bot.
T-minus, welcome in.
Because they're making more money off it. No, the artists don't see any of that money, but that's not what I'm advocating for.
But they do.
To make more money.
They do.
Fans to have fair ticket prices, be able to go and enjoy more shows. I know people that they decide on a family vacation or going to their favorite concert once a year rather than, my parents used to go see multiple shows when you could afford them back in their day.
Many artists have been caught scalping their tickets and reselling them. One of the big sound bites coming from this meeting with Kid Rock, though. Trump was asked over the weekend if he was running for a third term. Kirsten Welker was like, I know you're joking. And Trump's like, no, I'm not joking. I'm going to run for a third term. He's doubling down on it, and he says not only does he want to run for a third term, he wants to run against the Democratic heavyweight.
I know it's hypothetical right now, but if you were allowed for some reason to run for a third term, is there a thought that the Democrats could try to run Barack Obama against you?
I'd love that.
For his third term?
Boy, I'd love that. That would be a good one. I'd like that. No, people are asking me to run, and there's a whole story about running for a third term. I don't know. I never looked into it. They do say there's a way you can do it, but I don't know about that. But I have not looked into it. I want to do a fantastic job. We have 4 years, just about, almost close to 4 years. Time is flying, but it's still close to 4 years, and we're getting a lot of credit for having done a great job in the first almost 100 days. And we have some big things.
We've got a cat vomiting over
here. You know very well, Peter, and I think it's going to be something that's going to bring a lot of wealth back to our country, tremendous wealth back to our country, actually. And other countries are understanding it because they've been ripping us for 50 years, longer, but they've been ripping us off for years, right from the beginning. And I think this is going to be an amazing, I call it a lot of different names, but it's really, in a sense, it's a rebirth of a country because how we could have afforded to do.
Wow.
We help everybody, and they don't help us. I really, the term I like best probably is the liberation of America. It's the liberation of this country because it's incredible. Look, we have 36 trillion in debt for a reason.
Come on, man.
And that accumulates over a long period of time. So I think what you can.
I'm cutting him off. He's rambled long enough. There's like another minute of that. But now, apparently, Bitch Tits Bob talked Donald Trump into taking a very controversial meeting. Oh, my God. Trump said on Sunday that he's taking a meeting with Bill Maher despite hesitations because it comes at the request of his friend Kid Rock. I got a call from a very good guy and a friend of mine, Kid Rock, asking me whether or not it would be possible for me to meet in the White House with Bill Maher, a man who has been unjustifiably critical of anything or anyone, Trump. I really didn't like the idea much and don't like it much now, but thought it would be interesting. Trump wrote on Truth Social. The problem is, no matter how much he likes your favorite president, me, he will probably proclaim what a terrible guy I am, very much like the Democrats at my recent address to the joint session of Congress. Where I stated correctly that no matter what I said or did, they wouldn't stand, they wouldn't applaud, they wouldn't smile or laugh, and certainly they wouldn't be in any way nice. Who knows, though? Maybe I'll be proven wrong. In any event, I'm doing a favor for a friend. I look forward to meeting with Bill Maher, Kid Rock, and I believe even the legendary Dana White will be present. It might be fun or it might not, but you will be the first to know. It might be fun or it might not. Oh my God, that's the way Trump is looking at his meeting with Bill Maher. Oh God, are we gonna see Trump on fucking Club Random? Hold on, Maher gave a comment about going to the White House and meeting Trump. Hold on, let me see if I can find it here. Is this the clip? Is it from Club Random with him and fucking Cuomo? T-Minus, I tell you good evening.
I am. So Kid Rock makes it happen. What do you think has been the response so far? What do you think it will be, and why are you doing it? Which I'm totally for, by the way, and I love it.
I get it. Well, I'm doing it because, first of all, it was presented as...
Can he get Trump to smoke weed with him?
A dare.
not a dare. No, just like, maybe this is a beginning to heal America. Now, I don't have some sort of complex where I think I can heal America. I can't. Okay, let's get that clear.
No, you can't, you piece of shit.
America. But if two guys who've been at each other for so long, I mean, I can't...
Rich men with common interests in their wealth. You have that. You've got class interests in common.
It's kind of a Nixon to China thing.
No, it's not.
There was nobody who was harder on Trump or more prescient about the fact that he wasn't going to leave office voluntarily than I was. I feel like
it's at the White House, not Mar-a-Lago.
But they also respect me because I'm honest about the woke train to crazy town.
My God, the woke train to crazy town.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
And I don't shrink from that, and I've also lost a lot of fans for that. The woke people have left the building, and I'm willing to make that sacrifice. But it does give you a certain credibility. So I just think to meet somebody, first of all, it's an honor to be invited to the White House.
Yes, it is.
And I've already had a...
Maher isn't going to bust his balls. No, Trump will bust Maher's balls.
You know,
Maher will take it like the bitch he is.
That you glide right past the idea that little Bill Maher from Rivervale, New Jersey, just a humble kid from the suburbs, was invited for a private dinner to the White House. You glide right past that to how dare you talk to him, and that you're not impressed by it at all. I'm impressed by it a lot. I'm impressed the fuck out of it. I get to go to the White House, and yes, that is the structure of this dinner, is just
wow.
Let's talk to each other face to face. Let's not stop shouting from 3,000.
I'd kind of pay to watch it, though.
You know, so if they expect me to be leaving
Cuomo in the tight pants, look at that shit.
In a MAGA hat, they're going to be very disappointed, but I know they don't, and I think it's going to be, look, it probably will accomplish very little, but you got to try, man. You got to try.
I love it. You know, Kanye.
What? Hold on. I'm sorry. I cut that off. He said, Kanye.
You got to try, man. You got to try.
I love it. You know Kanye. Bill Maher, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Love being with you, bud.
Yeah, this was so much fun.
And I love that
You know Kanye?
you're going. I think it's great. For exactly
It is great, isn't it?
100%.
Yes.
And I will celebrate it when it happens.
Great. I appreciate that.
Ooh, what? Knowing Kanye is probably not a good thing, is it? Huh. You know Kanye. There you go, Ponder Monkey. Was Cuomo erect? Oh my God. Hold on, let me go back. We'll go back here. Was he erect?
President.
It is great, isn't it?
Oh, wow. Fuck. Jesus. Talking about Bill Maher meeting Trump got Chris Cuomo incredibly erect. Sir, is that a banana in your pocket, or are you happy to see Bill Maher? Are they getting ready to go have a schwitz after this? They're going to strip down, get naked in the sauna together? I didn't think it was going to be an actual boner. It is a boner. Chris Cuomo is very horny for Bill Maher. Apparently can still get it up. Yeah, leg day win. His legs were pretty skinny. However, he does have a third one. No kink shaming. Wow. Here is White House Press Secretary Carolyn Smith. You go for that, Holiday. You go for that.
And the American people are treated fairly.
Has President determined how many countries are going to seek these reciprocal tariffs?
Again, I'll let the president get into the specifics of the announcement, but he has a brilliant team of trade advisors. You have Secretary Bessent, Secretary Lutnick, Jamieson Greer, our U.S. Trade Representative, Peter Navarro, of course, and Kevin Hassett here at the White House, Stephen Miller as well. The Vice President has been deeply involved in these conversations. All of these individuals have presented plans to the president on how to get this done, and it's the president's decision to make, and we will not get ahead of him on the specifics of the announcement.
And has the global stock market sell-off caused the White House to rethink any of these plans?
The president has always said that the stock market is a snapshot of a moment in time, and he's doing what's best for Main Street, and Wall Street will work out just fine in this administration, just like they did in their first term.
As you said last week, Caroline, you said there would be an investigation or a review into how Jeffrey Goldberg's number got on that group chat. What's the status of that review, and what is the status of National Security Advisor Mike Waltz?
As the president has made it very clear, Mike Waltz continues to be an important part of his national security team, and this case has been closed here at the White House as far as we are concerned. There have been steps made to ensure that something like that can obviously never happen again, and we're moving forward. And the president and Mike Waltz and his entire national security team have been working together very well. If you look at how much safer the United States of America is because of the leadership of this team.
On the tariffs, are there going to be sector-by-sector announcements this week at the event you're alluding to? Is it going to be focusing on sectors or more country-based tariffs?
The goal of Wednesday are country-based tariffs, but certainly sectoral tariffs. The president has said he's committed to implementing them, and I'll leave it to him on when he makes that decision and that announcement. Sure.
Does President Trump still plan to talk to President Putin this week, and if so, when?
I don't have a readout for you on that call, but as always, we'll provide a readout. Usually the president likes to let you guys know first, especially for big calls like that. Steve?
Any exemptions for farmers being considered for these tariffs?
No exemptions at this time.
Caroline. The validation guide that DHS is using to determine who is an enemy alien, a Tren de Aragua member, and deportable under the Enemy Aliens Act, it has criteria here that require 8 points to be classified as a TDA member. You can get classified by simply having certain symbols in your tattoos and wearing certain streetwear brands. That alone is enough to get someone classified as TDA and sent to El Salvador.
That's not true, actually, Andrew.
According to this document, it is.
No, according to the Department of Homeland Security and the agents, have you talked to the agents who have been putting their lives on the line to detain these foreign terrorists who have been terrorizing our communities? TDA is a vicious gang that has taken the lives of American women. And our agents on the front lines take deporting these people with the utmost seriousness, and there is a litany of criteria that they use to ensure that these individuals qualify as foreign terrorists and to ensure that they qualify for deportation. And the president made it incredibly clear to the American public that there would be a mass deportation campaign of not just foreign terrorists, but also illegal criminal aliens who have been wreaking havoc on American communities. And shame on you and shame on the mainstream media for trying to cover for these individuals who have. This is a vicious gang, Andrew. This is a vicious gang that has taken the lives of American women.
The government filed in court, which says all.
And you said yourself there are 8 criteria on that document.
They need 8 points.
And you are questioning the credibility of these agents who are putting their life on the line to protect your life and the life of everybody in this group and everybody across the country. And their credibility should be questioned. They finally have a president who is allowing them to do their jobs, and God bless them for doing it.
Caroline, what method would the president use to potentially run for a third term? As he said, there are methods there.
Look, you guys continue to ask the president this question about a third term, and then he answers honestly and candidly with a smile, and then everybody here melts down about his answer. The president talked about this last night on the plane. He said, it's not really something we're thinking about. He has 4 years. There's a lot of work to do. We've done a lot in these nearly first 100 days, and the American people love what this president is doing, particularly when it comes to efforts to secure the border.
How confident is President Trump in that he can get a peace deal done in Ukraine?
What a cunt. I was cleaning up cat vomit, just gritting my teeth over
Well,
there.
look, the president is working incredibly hard to get a peace deal done between Russia and Ukraine, and he has expressed his displeasure with comments that have been made by leaders of both sides of this conflict. He has expressed what he believes needs to take place in order to see this conflict come to an end. He continues to work very hard on it, and our teams continue to be engaged.
Caroline, can countries that don't have tariffs on the US but may have other forms of non-tariff trade barriers, I'm thinking in my case of Australia, can they expect...
So that was that tens exchange over the migrant policy. Meanwhile, earlier today, a judge in Boston dismissed a case against an ICE detainee and called out the Department of Homeland Security for their bullshit. Go to the local news report here.
Judge in Boston is dismissing a case against a man who was detained by ICE in the middle of his criminal trial. Good Monday evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Priscilla Casper.
And I'm Colton Bradford. Tonight, the ICE agent involved is being held
in you look like a Colton.
Court, accused of obstructing justice. Our Mary Marcos was inside that courtroom for a hearing, a heated hearing, we should add. She's joining us live outside Boston Municipal Court with more on what happened. Mary?
Well, Colton, you said it. This was a contentious hearing. It lasted around 3 hours and ended with the judge finding that the state played a role in violating this man's constitutional rights.
Right there, they're arresting him. New video shows Wilson Martel LeBron being taken away by ICE agents Thursday, the first day of his trial for allegedly falsifying information on a license application.
Prosecutors from the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office had no knowledge that the defendant was going to be arrested that afternoon.
By Monday, a judge found the state prosecution team obstructed justice.
There was a plan in place. There was an operation in place.
This is a plan to stop
stop the defendant, to disappear him during his ongoing jury trial.
Judge Mark Somerville dismissed the jury when ICE agents ignored his order to appear. He heard arguments from both sides, repeatedly overruling objections.
Be careful what you object to.
And threatening to throw out ADA Jack Lucy's lawyer.
One more word, I'm going to have you removed.
Hell yeah.
Called as a witness, where he admitted that ICE agent Brian Sullivan shared his intent to take Martel LeBron into custody on 2 occasions, and that was after he sent this email.
You may be interested to read the attached brief the defendant filed with the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court. On page 3, he admits he is, quote, an undocumented immigrant.
The judge found the troopers played a role in letting ICE know when he'd be leaving court. Now ICE is refusing to return him for trial.
We agree with the judge that it's an egregious move by ICE to do this. We intended to try this defendant at trial.
The judge dismissed the case with prejudice based on prosecutorial misconduct and ordered agent Brian Sullivan in contempt of court.
Yes.
Now, ICE is still holding Martel LeBron in Plymouth. The matter now goes to the district attorney's office, who has promised to do the right thing here. Live in Boston, Mary.
And what is the right thing? Let the man stand trial? I mean, the charges have been dismissed now. Fucking haul that ICE agent in is what you need to be doing. At least this judge is following the law. There are Republican lawmakers who are out here advocating judges not following the law. One is Representative Victoria Spitz, a Republican who held a town hall that said immigrants shouldn't receive due process. Notice something about her accent. Immigrants shouldn't receive due process.
All right, for weeks now, voters have been giving lawmakers an earful at town halls across the country. On top of President Trump's deep cuts to government agencies, frustrations are also mounting over the leaked group chat with top White House officials.
Vicky Swallows.
National security officials about the U.S. military strikes in Yemen. Here's how Republican Congresswoman Victoria Spartz responded to her constituents' questions of
maybe it's Spartz. I thought it was Spitz.
On Friday.
Spitz is funnier.
And the immediate resignation of Pete Hegseth, Michael Waltz, and the rest of the group chat.
Wow, I believe your constituency has spoken.
So let me just address, no, I will not demand their resignation.
Congresswoman Spartz held another town hall yesterday. Ashton Hackman from CNN affiliate WTHR spoke with voters in Muncie, Indiana, eager to share their concerns.
It was confrontational from the start. Nearly 100 people filling the room in Muncie City Hall, pressing Congresswoman Spartz for answers.
Okay, I'm going to have to, message my buddy.
100 people.
Ah, fucking socks! God damn it, buddy! He has thrown up fucking everywhere! Fuck, dude! Oh my god, he's throwing up again. Fuck!
Filling the room in Muncie City Hall, pressing Congresswoman Spartz for answers on issues of government spending, healthcare, and DOGE cuts from President Trump and Elon Musk.
We need to take into consideration, and then we need to decide as the Congress, do we want to actually put it in the budget? So that is the discussion and work we have right now.
Answers at many times masked by uproars from the crowd.
Any opportunity that our representatives give us to be involved in their decision-making process, it's incredibly important to step up and do that. I'm not going to promise that they're always going to listen, but be a part of the solution.
Chelsea McDonnell is one of those constituents asking questions, sharing how cuts at the federal level impact lives on a local level.
I write grants for multiple organizations, including the Soup Kitchen, and we're going without answers about things like our FEMA grants, and it's very concerning for us because we really depend on that to keep people alive.
But it wasn't just those speaking out against Congresswoman Spartz. Many supporters were there to ask questions too.
I think more of our representatives do need to
to show up and talk to their constituents.
Randall McAllister went to both of the town halls. He said the current political climate makes it difficult to find middle ground.
We got to chill out and just listen to each other. Even if we don't agree, at least have that conversation. Instead of all the anger build up, just sit down, relax, and actually have a conversation.
Our thanks to Ashton Hackman from our CNN affiliate WTHR. All right, here with us now is the Congresswoman at the center of those town hall discussions, Republican Representative Victoria Spartz of Indiana. Congresswoman, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me, Frederica.
All right, so people in the audience in the Westfield Town Hall were quite upset, challenging you, among other things, on whether Defense Secretary Hegseth should be fired or removed. You said no to that. So what are among the other things that you told voters that you are considering as it pertains to DOJ activity, including firings and department dismantling?
Well, unfortunately, Frederica, these town halls, which should be part of the process for us to communicate with our constituents and have dialogue, became really an organized ambush by Democrats and a lot of radical groups to push a false narrative that Republicans are doing something wrong. And that sprayed lies. So I thought, regardless what really a lot of my colleagues understand, is becoming a safety situation because we have a very violent group of creating chaos, which really puts safety of our staff and other constituents, police at stake, decided not to do it. I thought we still need to do it because we shouldn't be silenced and we need to talk about the issues that are important for the American people because we try to legislate a lot of good issues and that will benefit Americans. So we did that, but unfortunately the action was very violent. And I'll tell you about the questions relating to Pete Huck that is kind of hypocritical that, that a lot of people are so fighting for the same due process for people here illegally, which realistically we can do only in a limited way. They don't feel that actually people like Pete Hegseth should have a due process before we're going to do any, demand resignations and take them out of their position that they were appointed to if some innocent mistakes.
Wow.
Always have a room for improvement, but I think they're entitled for more due process, not a mob rule, than illegals in our country that violated law and working with cartels and create dangers in the country.
So
but
are you disputing?
The other side doesn't want to have dialogues.
So are you disputing that a number of the people that are showing up at your town halls are legitimate constituents?
Yeah.
I mean,
you're in your third term. You probably recognize a lot of your voters at many of these town halls. And do you feel that that was representative of your district and the sentiments that people were conveying to you?
No, I'm actually a lot in my district, had a lot of meetings beyond town halls. This is organized by Democrats. They did a lot of social media posts. A lot of them were standing, and very radical groups in my district were standing all day to make sure that they can get in first, because we even expanded capacity for the first town hall. It still was, normal if we don't have so many people, because ultimately that's agenda. Organized group of people. So they wanted to make sure they get in and, there were professional protesters, agitators.
Yes, you represent the Democrats in your district too. Because it's in Indianapolis. They're probably a fucking gerrymandered district that's actually more Democratic than Republican, but they've got 2 Republican Congress people because you've cracked the district in half. That's why you've got constituents that seem to be overwhelmingly Democrat there in front of you.
The room that a lot of legitimate constituents couldn't even come. So a lot of them probably are constituents. We have a very diverse district, but they represent extreme left, not represent really the Indiana 5th district, because majority of people in my district don't want violence. They don't want
Indiana 5th? Is that what it is?
And they want to have a conversation. That's not a majority of Americans, and truly, I don't think majority of Americans want violence.
Well, it didn't look like from a lot of the videotape I saw that there was violence, but people certainly were very emotional. And of some of the comments I was able to hear, there were a lot of sentiments about Elon Musk, who were challenging the powers of Elon Musk. And they want to hear from you. And I wonder what you've been telling people who are asking you and other members of Congress, when they say they didn't elect Elon Musk, they are concerned that he has overstepped his bounds. And even some judges have said that he has overstepped his bounds in some of the firings. What do you say to people who have showed up at your town hall who are expressing that. What are you saying to them? Do you think Musk has gone too far?
Yeah, you've got a big chunk of
Musk been very
the city right here, and then a whole bunch of
bad at the government.
rural area.
Can look and decide what actions we need to put into the law in our appropriation reconciliation, because as an auditor, someone who has been talking now for years, and actually not just me, Government Accountability Office was talking how terrible and broken government, we don't have simple controls, we don't know where the money are going, departments are not auditable, we have a lot of fraud and we do nothing about it. No one is doing anything. At least he brings more transparency where American people can see now. So we make sure to get rid of fraud and save these programs that benefits for the people that belong these programs to, that we have enough money and we're going bankrupt. And I just add to your other point, actually my Muncie town hall was much more brutal in the way that they were much more organized, protested, and were actually very brutal to my staff and some of the Trump.
But she's the victim.
And it was much, it was very serious and very concerning for the police.
So, Congresswoman, what are the actions? You said, it's about the actions of the members of Congress. Members of Congress, helped craft law, legislation. You have the purse strings. What are the conversations among members of Congress about how you are going to either keep in check the president or Elon Musk and Doge when it's Congress who should control the purse strings, and when you have the president who says he wants to dismantle the Department of Education or restrict funding to the Smithsonian, which is congressionally approved? What is the plan of action among members of Congress, regardless of party?
Well, I think, unfortunately, just go to your point, 85% of spending, Congress doesn't even look at it for decades now. So until we reform our processes, which really hard to do on a partisan basis, it needs to be a bipartisan agreement, which very difficult to reach any bipartisanship. Unfortunately, we tried for a few years to try to do fiscal commission.
You don't try shit.
Through it, and even though introduce it in both chambers, and only very few people in Congress want to govern, that's a problem. But now it's a lot of grandstanding for Democrats, so I don't see it very
Wow.
We'll still try to do it, so then a lot of ways reconciliation is becoming the only place for us. We at least can look at some terrible waste, fraud, and abuse in some of these programs like Medicare and Medicaid. The Democrats and Nancy Pelosi used to be all for it, where Vice President Biden was saying it's a Ponzi schemes. We need to do something. We need to save these programs. And suddenly when Republicans are doing, there is no fraud. They're going to be protecting fraud. So there are some things we can do. There are some things need to be bipartisan. We'll have to deal with it. But hopefully we can come to more.
Did she say that Biden called Social Security a Ponzi scheme? I don't think Biden ever said that.
More people will come.
If he did, he's changed his tune
Republic,
lately.
Hopefully we will not be intimidated and silenced and talk about good policy we want to do for all Americans. Because good economy, good jobs, dealing with fraud, saving these programs, have a future for our children, that should be common sense we should agree on.
All right.
I don't see that at all.
Congresswoman Victoria Spartz, glad you could be with us. Thank you so much.
Biden never said that. I'm seeing no Biden quote on Social Security being, yeah, Elon Musk said that. She just straight up lied, and because she talks fast with a Ukrainian accent, she can get by with some lies. Oh, shit. The White House apparently ordered the firing of 2 DOJ prosecutors. 2 career DOJ officials were fired in one-line emails stating the dismissals were on behalf of President Trump, according to multiple outlets. Trump has long railed against what he's called the weaponization of the justice system. Now the White House, in coordination with the Department of Justice, has dismissed more than 50 U.S. attorneys and deputies in the past few weeks. The dismissal of Adam Schiefler in Los Angeles and Reagan Fondren in Memphis last week underscore aggressive White House efforts targeting U.S. attorneys' offices across multiple states, per the New York Times reporting on the firings that cited 3 anonymous sources. Whoa, that was a mouthful. The Daily Memphian first reported My cats are acting weird. The Daily Memphi first reported that Fondren had been fired on Thursday in a one-line email from her position as acting U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Tennessee, and also as a DOJ employee. Senator Marsha Blackburn announced in a statement on Friday that Joe Murphy would serve as interim U.S. Attorney for the district, saying she had worked with President Trump to ensure that Memphis chief federal prosecutor is competent, tough on crime, and pro-law enforcement. Representatives for Blackburn's office did not immediately respond to Axios' request for comment in the evening on Fondren's firing. Schiffler, who criticized Trump when he ran as a Democrat for a congressional seat in New York in 2020, was fired in a similarly brief email on Friday, according to the LA Times. The New York Times reported that Schiffler was fired as federal prosecutor as he worked on the prosecution of Andrew Wiederhorn, a Trump donor and former CEO of Fat Brands, which owns fast food chains Fatburger and Johnny Rockets. Wiederhorn is facing federal charges that a DOJ statement alleges relates to a scheme to conceal $47 million in distributions he received in the form of shareholder loans from the IRS, FAT's minority shareholders, and the broader investigating public. So it sounds like a kickback for a Trump donor, which seems to be par for the course nowadays, to use a golf reference for President Golfer. Trump is defending the pardon of a fraudster, Trevor Milton. Milton's lawyer happens to be Brad Bondi, the attorney, the brother to Attorney General Pam Bondi. Donald Trump explained why he pardoned Trevor Milton, a campaign donor. That's why he pardoned him. It's right there. Who was convicted of defrauding investors by making false claims about his electric truck company. In comments at the Oval Office on Friday, telling reporters that Milton's treatment was very unfair. The thing that he did was wrong. The thing that he did that was wrong was supporting Trump's presidency. He supported Trump. He liked Trump. I didn't know him, but he liked him. They went after him. They went after his family. They went after his businesses. And he was, I believe, exonerated. And they went after him again. They brought him this time into Manhattan. He had nothing to do with Manhattan. They got him. And I said, that's unfair. There's many people like that. They support Trump, and they went after him. Milton was the founder and CEO of Nikola, an electric hydrogen-powered truck company that went bankrupt. In 2023, a federal judge sentenced him to 4 years in prison and fined him $1 million after he was convicted on 1 count of securities fraud and 2 counts of wire fraud. Prosecutors argued that he made false claims about his company, including that he had billions of dollars in binding orders. He had been free on bail at the time of his pardon, and now Milton no longer needs to pay restitution to his shareholders. Milton celebrated in a pardon video.
My gosh. Oh, you won't believe just what happened. Sorry, it's pretty hard for me to talk about, but
driving in his car, of course.
I've had in 5 years. I just got a call from the President of the United States on my phone, and he signed my full and unconditional pardon of innocence. I am free. The prosecutors can no longer hurt me. They can't destroy my family. They can't rip everything away from me. They can't ruin my life. I get to be with my wife now. I get to be with my family. It is done. It's over. I am now officially pardoned.
Or maybe you're just a criminal.
President of the United States, 4547. An amazing man that cared enough to call me personally.
He hadn't been convicted yet.
Justice this all was. Done by the same offices that harassed and prosecuted him.
I think, did we not just read that? No, it said he'd been sentenced. He hadn't reported a federal judge sentenced him to 4 years in prison. He'd been free on bail. Okay. So he hadn't gone to prison yet, but he had been convicted.
And I'm now officially 100% pardoned. And I wanted to tell everyone out there, all the people that supported me and fought through all the bull crap fought all the lies, fought against all the short sellers and the destruction that they do and everybody else involved.
It was somebody else's fault for your scam.
In America is about to happen. And I just wanted to tell you guys, thank you.
It said that he no longer has to pay restitution to shareholders, which seems insane. This is the thing that I hate. Like, CEOs never have to fucking pay a price. In October 2024, the former CEO gave more than $900,000 to the Trump 47 committee. Trump criticized former President Joe Biden and his Justice Department for prosecuting Milton while discussing the pardon on Friday. You don't realize this is a vicious group of people that were in this office before us. They're violent. They destroyed 5 years of his life, and he did nothing wrong. He's a good person. Of course, who gives a fuck about the workers? A January 6th rioter, or a defendant in January 6th, part of the Oath Keepers, who was apparently a former associate of Hunter Biden, has been pardoned by Trump. President Trump continued his role of granting clemency on Monday, pardoning a former associate of Hunter Biden as well as a January 6th defendant. Trump has doled out pardons to people accused of a wide variety of crimes. Jason Galanis was serving a 14-year prison sentence after being convicted of securities fraud, investment advisor fraud, and other charges in 2020. Galantis cooperated last year with House Republicans investigating the business entanglements of former President Biden's son, Hunter Biden. That's how he got rewarded. He is the second former Hunter Biden business associate to be pardoned by Trump. Thomas Edward Caldwell is the latest person associated with the January 6th riot to receive clemency from Trump. After the president issued sweeping pardons for the vast majority of Capitol rioters, Caldwell was arrested in the weeks after the riot and tried alongside members of the Oath Keepers. He was a retired Navy intelligence officer and was acquitted by a jury earlier this year of charges including seditious conspiracy and 2 other conspiracy counts. Other charges against him were also dismissed. Caldwell was among about a dozen people who received a sentence commutation from Trump in January as part of his executive order pardoning most January 6 defendants. What did he get found guilty on? It said he was acquitted. Huh. The dude that testified against Hunter, though, that's pay to play. Should also be illegal. Now here's one for you. A North Carolina man says his January 6th pardon from Trump means that his child porn charges should be dropped too. A Mint Hill, North Carolina man is arguing that his indictment on charges of producing and possessing child pornography is null because images were found during an investigation into his role in January 6th. Oh my God. The U.S. Attorney's Office, however, is opposed to dismissing the charges. Investigators in Washington allegedly observed the images of a nude minor female, drug paraphernalia, and firearms after they seized David Paul Daniels' phone and computer in November of 2023, according to a motion Daniels' attorney filed in federal court Wednesday. The attorney, William Turpening, declined to comment. Daniel is asking a judge to either dismiss the case or suppress all evidence the government found. The charges here are unrelated to the January 6th case, his motion said. Mr. Daniel does not argue that the pardon directly reaches the case. Rather, the pardon requires dismissal because the case is entirely based on evidence that was seized pursuant to the search warrant obtained exclusively in furtherance of that now pardoned January 6th case. Oh, for the love of God, I hope that doesn't get dismissed. Was Pete Hegseth's wife in highly classified meetings with high-level officials? The answer is probably yes, I assume.
Embattled Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, he finds himself under fire again today for bringing his wife to high-level meetings. Jennifer Hegseth can be seen in this video following her husband into a meeting in Brussels with our allies to strategize over Ukraine. More trouble for embattled Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. He finds himself under fire again today for bringing his wife to
Whoa, deja vu. What happened?
Seen in this video following her husband into a meeting in Brussels with our allies to strategize over Ukraine. She takes a seat directly behind her husband. Jennifer Hegseth's presence caused surprise, but the meeting went on without objections. The former Fox News producer was at her husband's side during his confirmation hearings last December, but she does not have an official position in the Trump administration. Mr. Secretary, does your wife attend meetings with sensitive info? When asked about the controversy during his trip to Japan, Hegseth smiled, but did not comment.
Who is this?
Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense.
Meanwhile,
that was pretty funny.
Poked fun at Hegseth for giving out details of a military strike on that group chat.
Sending a PDF with updated locations of all our nuclear submarines.
Stop sending us this stuff.
Speaking of wives, J.D. Vance joining his wife, Ursula Vance, over in Greenland this weekend. Could not get any locals to meet with him, so he never left the base.
That's what this is about. There is no amount of bullying, no amount of obfuscating, no amount of confusing the issue. Our message to Denmark is very simple. You have not done a good job by the people of Greenland. You have underinvested in the people of Greenland, and you have underinvested in the security architecture of this incredible, beautiful landmass filled with incredible people. That has to change. And because it hasn't changed, this is why President Trump's policy in Greenland is what it is. That's what this.
He's threatening Denmark for no goddamn reason. Well, I'm sorry, there is a reason. If we listen to one Vladimir Putin, we find out what the reason is. Allow me to take you, this was a speech that Putin gave.
It would be a great mistake to believe that this is just some eccentric talk of the new American administration. Nothing of the kind, in fact. Let me remind you that by 1869, the American papers laughed at the purchase of Alaska. The deal was called a folly. It would be a great mistake to believe that this is...
He went on to say some other shit. I couldn't find a good breakdown of the talks, but I got this from The Guardian. As J.D. Vance touched down in Greenland, the Trump administration received an unlikely endorsement for the U.S.'s first potential territorial expansion. Vladimir Putin, speaking at an Arctic policy forum in the northern Russian city of Murmansk on Thursday, Putin presented a more comprehensive case than any U.S. official yet for Donald Trump's plan to annex Greenland, crafting a historical argument that sounded suspiciously convenient in terms of Russia's own territorial designs on Ukraine. The U.S.'s plans to take control of Greenland may surprise someone only at first glance, and is a deep mistake to believe that this is some kind of extravagant talk by the new American administration. Nothing of the sort. The U.S. had plans to buy Greenland in the 1960s, but Congress would not support the deal, Putin said. It protected the territory from Nazi occupation in the 1940s and made an offer to buy the island that was rebuffed. Even going back to 1910, the U.S. had designs on Greenland, the Russian leader noted, calling the U.S. plan serious with long-standing historical roots. Then Putin moved on to Alaska, which was sold by the Russian Empire to the U.S. in 1867, what has become a national case of seller's remorse. Let me remind you that by 1868, the purchase of Alaska was ridiculed in American newspapers. Now, he said, the purchase under President Andrew Johnson has been vindicated. In short, Putin concluded, get over it. Big countries have territorial ambitions. Deals for land and annexations are not just historical relics. They are a modern reality, and rejecting generations of international norms not to take territory by force or through extortion is none of our business what they do over there. As for Greenland, this is an issue that concerns two specific states and has nothing to do with us, Putin said, while adding that Russia would continue to defend its interest in the Arctic from dangerous powers such as Finland and Sweden. It does not take a criminologist to understand why Putin has come out in support of Trump's annexation plan. As U.S. power recedes in Europe, the Kremlin is seizing its chance to establish its long-awaited multipolar world in which it holds dominion over a sphere of influence, particularly in Ukraine and Belarus. Putin has railed against U.S. hegemony since his Munich speech of 2007, and he finally has a U.S. president who is just as derisive of the post-war order as he is. Putin's mantra that countries should mind their own business dovetails closely with Trump's transactional view of the world, as well as his deep suspicion of transnational organizations and alliances set up after the Second World War. Those range from the United Nations to the International Criminal Court to even foreign economic blocs such as the EU. The post-war global order is not just obsolete, it is now a weapon being used against us, said Marco Rubio in his Senate confirmation. Man, The Guardian didn't even get into it, where like Putin said that they'll control Ukraine and Poland and Denmark. And the U.S. can have Canada, Panama, and Greenland. We had troops over in Lithuania doing drills with soldiers. They had been missing for, 2 weeks? When we did the story last week, they'd been missing for a week. They got swallowed by a peat bog in Lithuania.
It took nearly a week, but 3 of the 4 soldiers have been found dead at the site. Their identities are being withheld pending notification of next of kin. This is according to the U.S. Army.
Got caught by a bog witch.
Tuesday in the early hours of March 25th in their M88 Hercules armored recovery vehicle while conducting a mission to repair and tow a tactical vehicle. A day later, their own vehicle was found submerged in a swamp 5 meters below water in the training area. That vehicle, by the way, is used for battlefield rescue and recovery missions. Now, again, according to this statement from the U.S. Army, it was a 6-day-long effort that required tremendous resources, hundreds of service members from the U.S. Army, U.S. Navy, the Lithuanian and Polish armed forces as well. The statement goes on to say, and I quote, they maneuvered through
the death of a medieval warrior, indeed,
with zero visibility to reach the vehicle. It's certainly no.
Now, childhood cartoons made me think that quicksand was going to be a much bigger problem than it actually turned out to be. But maybe it's because we were of European descent. There was a lot of peat bogs.
Not unusual for the U.S. military to conduct training missions there. Lithuania, after all, is a NATO country. The Lithuanian president offered his condolences, posting on X that the search and rescue operation will continue until the 4th soldier is found. The soldiers were all from the 1st Brigade, 3rd Infantry Division, which is based in Fort Stewart, Georgia.
Hold on.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about.
Shut up, Lester.
Top story.
White House correspondents canceled Amber Ruffin. We will no longer get Amber Ruffin hosting the correspondents' dinner. This was Ruffin on the Daily Beast podcast.
100% interested in being like, ha, you're here. Look at your stupid head. You're burned. I care. You're kind of a bunch of murderers. I mean, so like they were like, you need to be, equal and make sure that the that you give it to both sides and blah, blah, blah. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be freaking doing that, dude. Under no circumstance.
Yeah.
They want that false equivalency that the media does. They want that. It feels great. It makes them feel like human beings.
Yeah.
It doesn't get to feel that way because they're not.
Some people are more culpable than others.
Yeah, that's what the right-wingers, they always want me to, like, acknowledge that they're valid or something somehow. Have you guys noticed that? Whenever I debate the right-wingers, like, if we have some sort of breakthrough and they agree with me on something, they want me to agree with them on something. They want some sort of concession that they had a point to make, or that their opinion need to be taken into consideration. It's the wildest thing.
That's
right.
And they get more jokes made about them, and the jokes are meaner because they're doing things that are worse in a lot of ways. That's how that goes. It can't be even. It actually
I don't see
can't.
how you could do it.
It can't be
without
even-handed.
And becoming a part of what's wrong.
Yeah.
You know? So,
yeah.
Talk to me in 5 minutes when I'll be like.
And even it just can't be even when you have a certain party in power. Like, the party in power is, like, I could understand a comedian going after a Democrat more if the Democrats were in office, if the jokes are more related to Joe Biden because Joe Biden's the one in office. But when the Republicans are in office, shit. Clearly you can't be even-handed there. I didn't know that there was such thing as ivermectin influencers, but apparently there is. So here's your schadenfreude for the day. An ivermectin influencer has died. Now his followers are worried about their own severe symptoms. Reading from Vice. Do we have a video here? Did it block it because of my ad blocker? Well, we've got one of his videos. Let's check this out.
To also use it to treat everything from COVID-19 to cancer. Now he's dead, and his followers are worried about their own severe symptoms.
Oh, that's the Vice video. It's a TikTok.
Rhode Island self-prescribed veterinary ivermectin in 2012. He was diagnosed with Lyme disease. When ivermectin became a popular alternative treatment for COVID-19 among the anti-vaxxer community during the pandemic, Lemoy leveraged his experience of taking the drug for over a decade to become a leading voice within the community. Lemoy began a Telegram channel dedicated to promoting the use of veterinary ivermectin to treat a wide range of problems, which quickly grew to amass over 130,000 followers.
So now we've got to watch reporting on TikToks. Ugh.
Tens of thousands of those followers took Lemoy's advice following his dosage protocols and even set up subgroups where they discussed how children could be treated using ivermectin. But in the early hours of Friday, March 3rd, Lemoy posted what would be his final message in the Telegram group. It read, "Happy Friday, all you poisonous horse paste eating survivors." Hours later, Lemoy was dead. Now some of the members of Lemoy's Telegram group are complaining of their own severe problems. There's one complaining about near constant hot flashes and the fact that their heart is beating out of their chest. Another wrote that all hell is breaking loose and that they're experiencing pain from the waist down and in their bones. According to the Missouri Poison Center, ingesting large doses of veterinary ivermectin can have a long list of issues for humans, including coma, seizures, lung issues, and heart problems. The FDA has long said that veterinary ivermectin is not an effective cure against COVID-19.
Werehorses.
It is highly concentrated for use in large animals. It can be highly toxic for humans. The obituary posted by Lemoy's family online said simply that he had passed away suddenly. But the admins in his own Telegram channel gave some more detail.
He died suddenly.
His heart was overworking and oversized and had actually grown to double its normal size. Where they got their information is unclear, and they didn't respond to Vice News requests for comment. Lemoy's sudden death has led to someone in the group questioning the safety of ivermectin, but those doubters have been quickly criticised. One member wrote that no one can convince her that Lemoy's death was due to ivermectin.
Wow.
Blaming Western medicine and its failure to find a cure. Despite Lemoy's death, administrators of the channel say they're going to continue operating the network. In the last few days, members of the group have continued to share advice about ivermectin, not only for treating COVID, but for treating a wide range of diseases. Everything.
It's a wonder drug, didn't you know?
Cancer, and even autism in children.
It won a Nobel Prize. It can treat your autism. Jesus fucking Christ. We're not going to make it as a species, are we? RFK Jr. apparently fat shamed the governor of West Virginia. Here's your director of Health and Human Services.
That he's invited me to be his personal trainer. And I am going to put him on a really rigorous regimen. And we're going to put him on a carnivore diet. We're going to make him do... Raise your hand if you want Governor Morrissey to do a public weigh-in once a month. And then when he's lost 30 pounds, I'm going to come back to the state and do a celebration and a public weigh-in with him. You're welcome, Denise.
Are we going to get a shot of him? Let's get a shot of his fat ass.
He left me an open door, so.
I don't even know if he's all that fat. I've never seen him before, I don't think. He ain't that big of a guy. Governor Morrissey of West Virginia. Patrick Morrissey. RFK fat shamed that fucker. Did you see the last governor of West Virginia and the senator from West Virginia? I mean, if you're wanting to fat shame somebody from West Virginia, the man that used to be the governor would be who I would go for. Oh, hold on. That is the former governor, Jim Justice, the current senator from West Virginia. Fat shame his dog, too. That's Baby Dog. Which one? I wish the dog was the senator. I wish Baby Dog was the senator. We would be so much better off. Let's go through the crime section kind of fast tonight. Okay, the dog is fine. Content warning. I don't know exactly where the crime content begins and the politics ends. You're gonna see what I mean with these next few stories. Virginia Giuffre, who claims she has just days to live after she was involved in a automobile crash. Virginia Giuffre, who accused the now deceased Jeffrey Epstein of sex trafficking, has shared a troubling IG post from the hospital, claiming doctors have told her she has 4 days to live, now down to 3 after an apparent car crash. In a Sunday Instagram post, Giuffre shared a photo of her bruised face from the hospital bed, asserting in the caption that she went into renal failure after a school bus crashed into her at a whopping 110 kilometers per hour. That's 69. I'm going to round up to 69 just for you American fucks. Nice. While she was slowing down for a turn, what was the school bus doing 68 for? Gouffre claimed her injuries were so severe that doctors have given her just days to live and transferred her to a special urologist. But despite supposedly being at death's door, she still managed to muster up strength to update her IG followers. She seemed to accept her alleged fate, writing that she was ready to go, but wanted to see her kids one last time, but seemed to cast doubts on that happening and into the post by thanking her fans for being a great part of her life. French fascist Marine Le Pen was convicted of fraud. We're apparently even going to get a interview with her. She's given a defiant interview on the news earlier tonight in France.
In a defiant television interview tonight, the leader of France's hard-right anti-immigration party National Rally, Marine Le Pen, has said she will not disappear from politics. Her comments came after she was banned from public office for 5 years, meaning she won't be able to run in the country's presidential election.
Here's a link to the TMZ story,
After
Holiday.
being found guilty of embezzling European funds in order to finance her party. She claimed the judges had handed down today a ruling worthy of authoritarian regimes. Well, Marine Le Pen had been viewed by many as
Like the authoritarian regime that you wanted to install?
As we can see from the last set of election results in France, support for her political party and its allies, shown here in the blue, stretches across many parts of the country. Our Europe editor, Katya Adler, is in Paris for us tonight. Katya.
Hey, Katya.
Well, Jane, there was pretty much a sharp intake of breath across the country when the Le Pen verdict became known. The judge really dragged out the drama, and TVs were on in bars and cafes. People were listening on the metro and in their offices. She is a huge political figure here in France, the face of the nationalist right. And even though, as you say, she has come out fighting, defiant, she's going to appeal the verdict, she says. Deep down, she knows this could spell the end of her political career and the end to her long-cherished hope of becoming France's next president. Silent fury oozing out of her, Marine Le Pen marched out of the Paris courthouse today, even before the final verdict. Why?
J'ai parfaitement compris.
It was perfectly clear, she said on French TV tonight. The judge was out to bar her from running for president.
Monday, 31st of March, is a dark day for our democracy.
Man, if only that happened in this country.
And our country. Millions of French voters are being deprived of their favorite presidential candidate. If that isn't a political decision, I don't know what is.
You think that excuse gives you carte blanche to do whatever the fuck you want and get away with it?
Today's sentencing sent shockwaves around France, even amongst those who aren't natural allies of Le Pen. The BBC visited Moissac in the rural southwest.
I think this whole thing is political, to stop Le Pen becoming France's next president. She was in pole position.
I don't share her values at all, but I believe everyone has the right to run as a political candidate.
The legal case dates back to Le Pen's years as a member of the European Parliament, ending in 2016. Today, along with more than 20 others in her Rassemblement National party, she was convicted of creating fake jobs and contracts to divert EU cash, well over
Sounds about right.
£3 worth, for her party's operations in France. The judge banned her from standing for political office for 5 years and sentenced her to jail. Today's ruling has set off a political earthquake in France. On the one hand, you have the hard right, the far right, who say this was an attempt to steal the presidency from them, their chance to reform France and make it great again. But there are wider implications, those who suggest the court was biased, that it took a criminal case against Marine Le Pen for political ends to stop her and her nationalist agenda.
Or maybe she's a criminal.
Faced Marine Le Pen headed to her party's headquarters outside Paris. She's launching a legal appeal. They're launching an online petition to support her. If she fails, this is the man waiting in the wings. Le Pen's political protege, Jordan Bardella. 29 years old, wildly popular in the polls, but considered by many as too inexperienced for a bruising French presidential race. France was already deeply divided before today's Le Pen ruling. The schisms now run even deeper between those who believe justice has been done and others convinced French judges the French establishment is out to prevent the will of the people.
Wow, so many parallels.
What sort of reaction are we hearing outside France?
Well, Jane, look, those political divisions that I was talking about here in France, you're now seeing them across Europe because nationalist parties or hard-right parties, they're gaining in strength. And today we saw hard-right political leaders from across Europe taking to the social media platform X in support of Marine Le Pen. Je suis Marine, I am Marine, said Viktor Orban, the Prime Minister of Hungary. Geert Wilders of the Netherlands said...
I mean, that should tell you all you need to know.
...as France's next president. The Kremlin in Russia even chimed in, interestingly criticizing democracy in Europe. And we heard a similar toned tweet from Donald Trump this evening. He referred to a previous speech by his vice president, criticizing, he said, the lack of free speech here in Europe and the barring of people from the political process. But, you know, Jane, if we think back to before the US presidential election and Donald Trump, all of those legal battles that he faced, that didn't harm his political support. And what we could see here, whatever happens to Marine Le Pen, is that her party actually benefits from all of this press attention and even today's political verdict. Sorry, today's judicial verdict seen by her party as political.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Republicans here in the U.S. Yeah, that's basically her Medvedev. And I like saying the name Medvedev. That's a fun name to say. The FBI has been called in to a GOP headquarters in Mexico where they apparently got firebombed.
We begin tonight with our top story. The FBI now leading the investigation into a fire in front of the Republican Party of New Mexico's Albuquerque office. Alyssa Munoz is live with what we know about that fire that RPNM calls arson.
Well, that fire happened right here outside the front door, like you said. You can.
I agree with your take, Michael.
Now we're told that no.
I think that's the correct take.
Republicans believe that this is politically motivated. Albuquerque Fire Rescue responded to the fire at the Republican Party office Sunday morning. RPNM's executive director believes it was set intentionally.
There was no way for a fire to have started on its own where the fire started. It was literally at the front door.
The flames reaching the ceiling and leaving some damage inside. The side of the office was also tagged, comparing Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement.
Molotov, perhaps?
Last night, there was a town hall meeting with Teresa Ledger, who specifically made a comment to continue to agitate the other side. And 5 hours later, this happens to our headquarters.
Barella is referring to one of the remarks made by Congresswoman Teresa Ledger Fernandez Saturday.
And we have a three-pronged project. Legislate, litigate, agitate. And you guys are part of the agitate part.
The town hall was hosted as a pushback on the Trump administration's latest decisions and to explain what Fernandez is doing to stop them. Fernandez sent a statement saying in part, Political violence of any sort is unacceptable, including this attack. At my town hall, I spoke about love in action, about the importance of showing respect and listening. It is a ludicrous leap to twist encouraging democratic participation. Senator Nicole Tobiasen hopes there is no more violence when it comes to political differences.
Where people are today, that they think violence is an answer. It's not a solution. We've always lived in society with different belief systems.
Now, the FBI is investigating this incident, and they have not said whether this is arson. Reporting in Albuquerque, I'm Melissa Munoz, KWT Action.
Now, there is the possibility it could be an inside job and Republicans did it to themselves. That happens. That's where left is best comes from. That was Republicans doing that to themselves. The FBI apparently got called into a park in Garland, Texas. Explosives found.
The FBI and Garland police are now working to find whoever left homemade explosive devices near a park. Garland police returned to a wooded area today near Wynn Park, near West Centerville Road and South 1st Street. Yesterday, someone found a suitcase and they called police. Officers, along with the FBI and bomb techs, determined that there were a number of homemade explosive devices in that bag. No one was hurt. Law enforcement is trying to find the person who left them behind and learn about their intentions.
We're going to California, where the LAPD are releasing video after a suspected burglar was killed after being taken into police custody.
One day after
Cracks a beer.
released surveillance video of the final moments of a burglary suspect's life, we are hearing from his loved ones.
They're upset the civilian who restrained Anthony Soule will not be facing any criminal charges. Tonight, we go back to Eyewitness News reporter Tim Pulliam for more on their side of the story.
New questions surrounding the death of Anthony Soule, a man investigators say was a suspected burglar who died in police custody. Anthony's final moments playing out on security video released by LAPD. You can see the two men fighting in a parking lot. Police say the man in the red shirt is a neighbor, tackling Anthony, the alleged thief, pinning him down. Anthony's mother, Pamela, and his sister, Katrina, speaking out for the first time, calling the man's actions excessive.
God damn!
He could have waited till the authorities were there so they can do their job.
But minutes later, when LAPD's Rampart division arrived, Anthony was no longer moving.
Sir, I got him. Please, move.
The officers handcuff Anthony. The incident happened on July 6th of last year.
I'm so hungry already, Media Winch.
Reporting a burglar had entered a home on...
We've got concerts to go through.
To the residence through the balcony. Pierre, 7 and 12-year-old child are possibly still inside the residence.
A female caller saying in Spanish, it looks like he is on drugs. At the scene, police thought he passed out from an overdose.
You have Narcan?
I do.
Go get it.
I don't believe that story, and I need more proof.
Anthony's family claims before the incident, he allegedly called 911 reporting he was being chased and in danger.
We believe that he was fleeing.
Paramedics arrived, but Anthony did not survive.
I mean,
says he died from traumatic
when you see him coming into the frame, he is definitely fleeing.
Asphyxia, with the effects of meth, cocaine, and a heart condition contributing to his death.
Well, goddamn.
He was very athletic. He was an avid tennis player, and he was a cheer coach.
He was partying, too.
He was very athletic, period. So no heart condition was known. That didn't cause his death. It didn't contribute to his death. It was traumatic asphyxiation. He was choked.
Anthony had just turned 45 the day before. The district attorney says the neighbor will not face charges.
The family wants to know the identity of the man who detained Anthony. They have set up a GoFundMe to help pay for a private investigator. And
wow.
Tim Pulliam.
Cops not even letting them know the name of the dude.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC7 content by clicking the subscribe button for our YouTube channel and download the ABC7 Los Angeles streaming app on TV, Android TV, Apple TV.
Thanks, Mark Brown. Always appreciate you. I got a cat sticking his ass up in here. We're going to go to Pennsylvania, where apparently 20 school, and we'll probably hit the content warning for this one. 20 school workers were arrested. I'm sorry, workers were accused of physically abusing over 20 students. I don't know how many people were arrested. Sorry, I got that one wrong.
And the district attorney is calling these allegations every parent's worst nightmare. He says 26 children were abused, some as young as 5 years old. 9 workers are charged with physically abusing them. 11 others are facing charges relating to failing to report child abuse. We are told all are classified as mandated reporters. Officials say this investigation began in
charter school,
Chester Community Charter School West Campus in Chester. The allegations involve individuals who are positive support facilitators. They work with students in grades K through 5 who are enrolled in the school's positive emotional support program. According to
Pennsylvania,
many of the instances of abuse were captured on video surveillance dating back to November and involve workers using painful techniques to restrain and punish kids. Officials say those techniques involve pinching students on pressure points near their necks,
putting
them in restraints. Court documents reveal that the abuse primarily targeted male students, although a few incidents involved females. It also claims the workers involved often shut the door to conceal their actions. The school says many of the individuals are employees of Peak Performers, which is a certified outside contractor. The school spokesperson says once they learned of the allegations, they terminated its contract with Peak Performers, suspended 3 charter school employees who were charged, and notified families of the students involved.
Oftentimes you can see them then using their knee to take the child to the ground. And at least one incident I saw them jack a kid up against the wall. This is just unacceptable behavior.
Don't jack a kid.
But particularly in a school setting for children who are supposed to be getting emotional support.
And the district attorney tells us that the owners of Peak Performers assured them that their employees were trained in safety techniques, but the investigation revealed that once they got a hold of the documents, they learned that none of those employees had the required up-to-date training. We did reach out
surprise.
We emailed them, however, we did not hear back. Stolzheimer says most of the defendants have not turned themselves in as of this afternoon. However, 3 did. The attorney representing Ryan Ridley and Dakeem Williams, we just got off the phone with him. He says his clients are presumed innocent. They are charged with failing to report abuse. We'll have much more coming up a little bit later on. For now, live in media, I'm Brian Sheehan, NBC 10 News.
Next story is about a principal getting arrested. This had nothing to do with the school we just discussed. It wasn't the principal from that school. This is in Florida. Lake Wells principal got arrested at a Walmart.
Of the school, and now he's been caught doing this. So what example does he set for the kids?
Teachers.
Oh, he was shoplifting?
Principal.
Is that what's happening?
Test of leadership. Good evening, everyone. I'm Josh Benson.
I'm Jennifer Lee. Thank you for joining us. That principal was arrested this weekend accused of trying to shoplift. News Channel 8's Polk County Bureau reporter Stacey DeSilva joins us now live from Bach Academy North in Lake Wales with the story. Stacey.
Bach Academy North sounds like a charter school.
Lewis was not at school today. We've learned that he's on administrative leave after his arrest this weekend. It's something that one retired school teacher says taints the profession.
Turn right, you'll see my car.
Body-worn camera video shows the Bach Academy North principal getting walked out of a Walmart in handcuffs.
Unfortunately, it's turning our profession into a sad situation.
James Barker is a retired school teacher of 35 years, and he is frustrated.
More and more people are doing just stupid things without any regard to the consequences, not only for themselves, but the reputation of our profession.
On Saturday, Winter Haven police arrested Gregory Lewis at Walmart, where he was accused of trying to steal $36 worth of light bulbs, bacon, and frozen shrimp at the self-checkout kiosk.
Light bulbs, bacon, and frozen shrimp. Man was having a party that night, wasn't he?
Haven police blocked
Mr. Spronk.
images of Walmart's loss prevention staff and equipment in its body-worn camera video.
I did something dumb today, and I understand it.
Lewis, the school principal, tells police he got the idea from friends.
We sit around talking, hey, I did this. I said, well, let me try and see that I can get away with what I get away with.
Police say Lewis hid the items between packages of foam plates.
This is Walmart. They have a lot of data. They use their data very well.
John Hazard is an associate at Robson Forensic with decades of experience in loss prevention.
Petite theft.
He says companies have invested in
petite
technology
theft.
to catch would-be thieves.
Their goal is, to sell stuff at a good price and remain profitable. So they put a lot of effort into catching and deterring people.
Fuck Walmart.
Who try things like
Petite slap.
Now, police say Lewis admitted to skip scanning at that store before. He's now facing a misdemeanor charge of petty theft. First offense. We did reach him by phone today. He declined to comment. The interim superintendent at Lake Wales Charter Schools says he is on administrative leave pending a
$36.
Live in Lake Wales. I'm Stacey DeSilva, 8 on your side.
Honestly, they did treat that more seriously than they did the child abuse story, didn't they? Seeing those back to back really illuminated that. Petite. Apparently, there was a Boston youth job fair today, and this shit got shut down because a fight broke out.
Video shows overcrowding inside a summer jobs fair at the Reggie Lewis Center. It had to be shut down after a fight over the weekend.
We are doing everything we can to make sure young people have access to
Oh, thank you, DJ Dub.
things happen, and we are working to make sure that all the protections and everything is in place.
Saturday, police say they observed about 1,500 youths inside and leaving the Lewis Center. A decision was made to close the event down, adding a large fight broke out at the Malcolm X Boulevard exit. Police requested and received citywide emergency deployment teams. Nobody was hurt or arrested.
I try to make everything flow.
Criticizing the mayor as unprepared.
The mayor's favorite talking point these days is her safest city in America quote claim. But if your teenager can't show up to the job fair without the fear of being hurt, how safe of a city do we really have?
Lenny, you live in a safe city.
Endorsements from lawmakers. She says police were at the job fair and the city is looking at adding time slots next year to avoid overcrowding.
The program has grown so much, and we really had huge interest this year. It's unfortunate that there was an incident that it seems on social media kind of spilled over in person.
If someone tells me we're going to have a huge turnout, I'm going to make sure that our staff and our team have all the things on the ground ready to keep people safe, kids safe, and vendors safe.
Now, the mayor says about 5,000 students showed up to this. She says there were
5,000.
half of them who weren't able to connect with potential employers, adding that next month there were several job fairs scheduled. We're live here in Roxbury. Sharman Sketty, WCVB News Center 5.
All right, I was going to do this piece of what's her name that shit her pants, Gun Girl. I don't even know if she actually shit her pants. That could just be a horrible rumor they started. Does anybody know if she actually shit her pants? Do you guys know who I'm talking about? Yeah, Caitlin something or other. I wanted to say Caitlin Collins. Media Winch says she did. Caitlin Bennett, that's it. Yeah, she had a thing where she was asking kids at spring break civics questions. We'll do that tomorrow night. I'm ready to get the music. I'm ready to rock out with my cock out. I'm probably even gonna get the bong out. But before we do that, let's watch a honey badger. You want to see a honey badger? So it did actually happen. She actually shit herself. Did you post it? You might have been where I got it from. Look at it. Look at it go backwards. So Twitch people, it's Live Music Monday. We're doing Meatloaf and Blue Oyster Cult. Media Winch picked out the bands for this week. So Meatloaf, Blue Oyster Cult, Live Music Monday. Everybody over on Kick, D-Live, Rumble, BitChute, podcast, YouTube, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. Yeah, maybe we should have done oysters. I was gonna say maybe we should have done bands that were based on food. But we did.